Welcome back to the shop, everyone. This week's video takes place in 2026 week 3, January 12th through January 18th. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I am going to start looking at my new dart block here. Just kind of want to read some of the instructions, go through it a little bit, and kind of get it up on my engine stand. So, I mean, the block is heavy. I think it's 160 pounds is what it says in the instructions. So moving that thing around is no joke. It's a big hunk of iron. And even just getting it out of here, like, I'm not the biggest guy in the world, so lifting it up is a challenge and uses a lot of muscle. But what I did is I got this so that the bell housing side is face up, and the reason why I did that is in order to put my engine stand on there, in order to put it on my engine stand, I need to get it onto the mount for the stand, which is that piece right there, that big yellow thing with all the arms kind of sprawling off of it. So what I'm looking at now is trying to fit this onto the back of the motor, and what I'm realizing is, like, I bought this used because I didn't want to buy something that was, brand new and a little bit junkier. This was a one that's, new. It would have been a bit more expensive. It'll take 1,500 pounds. It's a bit more heavy duty, but I've now come to realize somebody modified it. So all of those arms, usually there's going to be right at the very tip of them, it's going to extend out, an inch and a half, and that's so that when you put those arms up to the block, all of the bolt heads clear. Well, somebody ground them all off. This was obviously on an engine that they needed to grind it off so that they could mount it to, but that is to my detriment. So what I'm actually going to have to end up doing is I'm going to have to go and buy some tube, and then I'm just going to have to cut them all and weld them all and, put it back to how it was from the factory. Not the end of the world, but it kind of sucks. So I was grabbing some bolts and, trying to fit them in there. It looked like the 7/16ths were too big, but I swear this block is 7/16ths. That's what my old one was. I had a 3/8 bolt. It wouldn't thread in all the way. It would get in a little bit and then stop, which means that usually that means that the thread pitch is wrong. If you try and force it in, you're just screwing yourself. But sometimes, with a brand new hole, sometimes they're super tight. So yeah, just a little bit of the wrench will help you out. But it wasn't helping me out, so I stopped. I didn't force it through. I didn't just keep on cranking on it. I tried to find what thread it was. And so, yeah, just trying to fit this and trying to figure out what I'm going to do. So I eventually did grab a 7/16 bolt and threaded it in there, and it seems like the holes around the bolts were just, not great. There was a little bit like, I don't know how they cut them, but maybe they cut them all and then milled the face, and then they didn't go back and chamfer the hole at all. But a 7/16 bolt is the right size. It does go in there, so I'm just threading it down, making sure all the holes are clean, and then I will go ahead and I will mount the mount to the back of this just using washers. I'll just space those arms off with I think 5 or 6 washers, and then I'll find the correct length 7/16 bolt to get it so that the bolt threads all the way through the block, because you don't want to just have it like halfway. That's going to be weak. So yeah, so just gonna grab a bunch of washers, grab some longer bolts, and we'll get this mounted onto the back of the engine block. So my plan is to have the engine on the jig, and so I can check some measurements. I want to, put the crank in, check how high up the piston is coming in the bore if I can. This is rough board, it's not the final dimensions, so I might not be able to. But that's kind of the plan as to why I'm doing this, is so I can get it up there and start, doing some measurements before I send the block off to the machine shop. So I don't know if you might remember this or might not remember this, but I have brand new doors, fiberglass doors, and the passenger side went on okay. It wasn't great, but it did go on, and it lined up pretty well. The driver's side, however, did not line up at all. I had such a tough time. I did a bunch of measurements. That's why there's all that green tape on the doors, both the black steel door and the white fiberglass door. I just leaned it up against my garage door and took a bunch of measurements and, saw that it was way out. And so I figured that wasn't really a great scientific method. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build myself a jig. So I'm going to take a sheet of plywood, cut it down. It's going to end up being like 4 foot wide by, I want to say it was like 60 inches long. Because then what I can do is I can lay the door on that. And then what I can do is with the door laying on that, I can lay a, piece of plywood where the bottom of the door is, put the door on that, and then trace out some wood for where the doors sit, and then trace out wood for where all of the window sill, ledge, edge, the whatever window frame is, and compare my old stock steel door to my new fiberglass door and see if I'm crazy, if the door is way out, just how out it is, that sort of thing. So just starting off by getting it flat on there, and then I'm just going to rip off a small chunk of wood that'll go under the bottom of the door just to kind of space everything off. And then what I'll do is I'll take the plywood, I'll put it flat up against the one end of the door. I'll take a pencil, I'll trace out the body line, and then I'll take a jigsaw, cut out a rough shape, and then just refine it with the sander, both the bench sander, and then I also tried the handheld for a little bit, and then I'll repeat the process, for the bottom of the door, each of the main sides, and then like the 3 main dimensions around the window frame. So yeah, this was a fairly long process because I wanted to get the mold or the jig right, because I gotta make sure that the door is square or isn't square or whatever. So just taking my time to do it right was really the right thing to do. And now that I got the door on here, I kind of see that this door is just way out of whack. Like it's not even in the ballpark. Press down on the bottom side and the whole top kind of like comes up an inch. So this thing is just way out, and it makes sense now as to why I had so many problems trying to get this mounted. So I'm currently in talks with the gentleman who manufactured it, so I don't know where we're gonna go or what's gonna happen. But this was just validation for me that okay, I'm not completely and totally stupid. I'm just I mean, I am stupid, but I'm not completely and totally stupid. Not being able to get this mounted was probably not my fault. So you saw earlier that I was getting my block ready. Well, I couldn't really do much. I tried to fit one of the pistons in one of the cylinders, and because it's since the block hasn't been machined, it just doesn't fit. So there's no point in putting it on the stand and trying to do anything else. So I'm just getting everything ready to go off to the machine shop. All right, so got some engine parts ready to go to the machine shop. Now what I'm going to do is tape off the interior of the car. So the whole idea has been do the paint and body work. So I've been doing that on the inside, obviously. Got the cage all painted up nice, got the interior all nice. Now I want to start on the outside. Well, I don't want to be spraying a bunch of stuff to the inside of the car. Like when I'm spraying the outside, I don't want that getting on the inside. The inside's so nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape off all the holes, and then I'm going to tape off like the door holes, the window, the hatch hole, where the roof is. And so what I'm doing is I'm just taping all the holes from the inside out. Yes, some dust will get stuck on it on the outside, but that's okay. The reason why I'm doing that is by taping from the inside out, in theory, when I paint the outside, it should cover all of that area very nicely and like get all the nooks and crannies from the outside, so it'll look good from the outside. So yeah, we're just gonna go around the back of the car, get all these holes all taped up, and then once I get to like the big door, I'll talk about the process there. Alright, so I'm going to start by taping off this door. I figured I'd show this process with the camera on the inside first, and then I'll eventually move it to the outside because I've got enough, pieces of the car to tape off. So what I'm doing is called backmasking. So taking a piece of tape and I'm putting it on the back of the jams. So the sticky side is hitting the jams, and then there's a piece, there's a sticky side facing the outside of the car. So what that sticky piece on the outside of the car is going to do is allow me to tape plastic to it. And that plastic is what's going to cover the majority of the hole. So just taping all the way around the jam, making sure it's nice and taped off. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add some extra strips from the top to the bottom. And what this is going to do is when I put the plastic over, it's just going to give it a little bit of added strength on the back side. So I'm going to do some vertical strips, and then I'll do a couple of horizontal strips. And then I will lay the plastic on. So might as well talk about it now. When I'm putting the plastic on, what I'm going to do is I got a big sheet. I'll lay it out over. I'll kind of start in one corner, touch it to the tape, and then I can kind of pull the plastic tight and, run my hand down the tape to get it stuck to the tape, and kind of do that same process until the entire sheet is fairly tight. It doesn't have to be super tight, but I don't want it, flapping in the wind. And then, I can push the plastic into the tape, into the cross hatching there. And that just gives it good strength. And then after the plastic is on, I'm going to have a ton of extra plastic all around. So I'm going to take a brand new razor blade, and I'm going to very carefully cut the plastic about halfway where it touches the tape. So let's say that tape is 2 inches. I probably got about a 1/2 inch on the door jam. So I got 1.5 inches. So probably at about 3/4 inch, I'm going to cut all the plastic. And then once that's all done, I'll take my tape and tape from the front side the plastic onto the sticky tape that's facing the back. So that way, the plastic on the edges is kind of sealed between two layers of tape. I hope that kind of makes sense. You'll see what I'm doing when I move to the outside, and you'll be able to see it. Oh, okay, he's razor blading there, and then he's putting another layer of tape down. As I said, I just wanted to show this from the inside and then the outside. But yeah, I'm gonna run this same process for the I'm gonna do the front door, then the windshield, and the roof, and the hatch, and then the driver's side door last. So at this point in time, I wanted to go and grab my roof, test fit it on the car, make sure everything is still lining up, everything is still looking good. And it's actually at this point in time I realized, shit, what I actually want to do is I probably want to paint the inside of the roof first. And then I actually want to permanently mount it to the car, probably after I prime the car. Because if I don't, if I were to, like on the A pillars and the B pillars in the back, if I were to prime it, do all the body work, and then if I were to paint it the black, do the red metal flake, do the clear, well, when I come to do the roof, I'm going to have to blend all of that in. So I'm going to have to, sand back some of the clear and some of the color and blend it. And let me tell you right now, I firmly do not believe that I am a good enough painter or body worker to even try and do that. I think I would probably end up really screwing stuff up. Oh, so as you can see, I missed this entire back panel when I was painting the interior. So I'm just using my proprietary method to clean up some of the areas here with some black paint. I'm not worried about the metal flake on there. It's an area that nobody's really ever going to see or look at. So using my proprietary method, that was fine. So we are now back on to masking off the roof. So as I was saying before, I had to kind of interject there while I was doing my proprietary painting method. The plan is I'm going to tape off the roof right now. And then what I will do is, because I want to paint this like back package tray, kind of what I'm taping off right now, I want to paint that, get that into primer, get all of the rails around the roof kind of into primer. That way it's not going to rust. And then after it's primered, what I'll do is I'll fully install the roof. Well, actually, I'll probably paint the bottom of the roof first because I've already done the rest of the interior. So I'll probably, with the roof outside the car, I'll probably paint the inside of the roof just outside, kind of just outside the front of the shop there. I'll set up a, I'll set up a spray booth type thing. It'll work. And then once that paint cures and dries, I'll mount it on the car, permanently install it on the car, do all the body work on the car, like all the blocking, all the everything else, and then I'll prime just the roof. That's fine. Like I can prime the roof after the rest of it's all primed, and then once I do that, block off the roof, make sure that's all good, and then I'll get into painting the entire car. Because my original plan was, okay, well, I'll paint all the metal, I'll prime all the metal, paint all the metal, do all that, and then I'll install the roof after. And then I realized, dude, that's going to be a bad idea because you are nowhere near good enough of a painter to even attempt to do that sort of blending. So I'm not going to. I'm going to do this a little bit smarter, I think. I'm going to do it a little bit smarter. Whether it actually is smarter or not, don't know. Yeah, so here's where you can kind of see where I am, making sure that the plastic's pretty tight. Pulling it and pushing it into the tape to get it really stuck. And here's where I'm taking the razor blade and going like halfway between the tape edge and just cutting that plastic out. And then, in a second here, once I get all this plastic finished cut out, I will tape down all of the edges. Even though I need to take the block to the machine shop and it's going to get clean there, I'm just going to throw a bag over it and kind of protect it for what is about to come. And what's coming is I'm going to start stripping paint off of the car. So I know this is going to be a messy job. So I'm pulling down the plastic that I had down when I was painting, and I'm going to make sure that I'm not getting, this paint over absolutely everything. I know it's going to get over the back bench, and, that's kind of a necessary evil because I didn't, put plastic there. But I don't want it getting all over this stuff on the sides and, all my tools and all the stuff on the shelves. So we're going to at least do something to help alleviate that a little bit. And so, yeah, now I'm going to get stripping on this quarter panel. So I've got this Eastwood SCT, I think it's an Eastwood Contour SCT tool. Big drum with an 80 grit flap or Scotch-Brite effectively. And for doing large areas, this really, really makes a big difference. I'd tried sanding this just with the palm sander before, and that did not work well. This thing, it chews through it. You got a little bit of force behind it, and it really strips it, as you can see. And one thing to note as you're watching this is just look at the mess on the floor. It grows and grows and grows and grows, and you don't even really notice it as you're working on it, but as I was finished, there was just massive amounts of paint all over the floor. And, you can watch it in the video. You'll see it just start slowly piling up and piling up and piling up. And by the end of this video, the entire floor is just covered in this crap. Yeah, just look at how much dust there already is on the floor, and you can tell when I'm walking in it, I can feel it under my shoes, it's slippery as hell. But still, this is a great method for stripping this down. I look back at it, and it's I probably should have just taken this for a chemical dip and gotten it chemically stripped. Would have been so much quicker and nicer, but, you live and you learn. Well, with this last bit of stripping, that is all the time that we have for this week's video. So as always, if you've stuck around this long, I'd like to thank you for viewing, and we'll see you in the next one.